Hey math kids. So I didn't finish this problem, the problem from the previous video. So the ending, we proved that the limit as h approaches 0 of cosine h minus 1 over h is equal to 0. We will need to use that in this piece. And then also the limit as h approaches 0 of sine h over h is equal to 1. That's something we talked about in previous section, and we will also need to use that. Actually, that came up in the previous video as well. But if you want to see the explanation for that, I can't remember what video it was, but it was like limits, trigonometric limits or something is the name of that, and it's in the previous unit. Okay, so what they're asking us to do here, they're saying f of x is equal to sine x, find the derivative. So they want us to find f prime of x from first principles. And so we're trying to find the limit as h approaches 0 of sine x plus h minus sine x over h. We can't plug in our limit because that creates division by 0. And so what we need to do is use a a compound angle formula. I'm going to drop the limit. Well, maybe not. I won't. I'll keep it. Okay, so sine x cosine h plus sine h cosine x. And then we still have this minus sign. Once again, compound angle formula. Alright, that didn't cancel the h, so we got to keep going. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to group this and this together. We're going to take out a sine x. So we're still going to have limit as h approaches 0. Then we're going to have sine x. So we're factoring out a sine x. That leaves a cosine h, and that'll leave a minus 1. And while we're at it, we're going to keep this over h. And then we will still have this thing, which we'll write as cosine x times by sine h over h. Alright, since sine x and cosine x are independent from h, we can actually take them out of the limit. And so we're going to do a couple things here. We're going to write the limit on this piece and on this piece. Here, maybe I'll do two separate steps just to make it clear. So what we're going to do, we're going to say the limit as h approaches 0 of sine x cosine h minus 1 over h plus the limit as h approaches 0 of cosine x sine h over h. So that's the first thing is, if we have a limit with a plus sign in the middle, we can take the limit of each term individually. Now, because this is independent from h and this is independent, meaning the x is independent, we can actually take it out of the limit. Okay, so it looks like that. Now, at the beginning of this video, I reminded you that this is true. That's just a 0. So now we just have sine x times 0. That's what all that becomes. And then this, I reminded you at the beginning of the video, is 1 up here. So then we have cosine x times 1, and if we simplify that, this goes away. That just becomes cosine x. So just to recap, if we have sine of x the derivative is cosine of x. If you need additional help, come to Math Lab. Until then, calculator.